Chapter 1. Lucy had returned to the country. It had been over a week since I last heard from James. Social media was abuzz with news of James attending various events with Lucy. I kept seeing comments beneath the videos criticizing me. Oh, so Nancy was just a stand-in. Now that the real one is back, her good days are over. Haven't seen Nancy online for a while. Maybe she's already been dumped by the prince. Yeah, she probably got kicked to the curb a long time ago. I stared at these comments and casually posted a photo on my social media. It was a picture of me dancing in the studio. Wow, Nancy, you're amazing. Don't get too excited. This is just Nancy trying to seduce the prince. Exactly. Everyone knows the prince likes dancers. Can you stop being so obsessed with men? Is it really that hard to admit she's talented? Some people might not know, but Lucy only came back because she delayed her graduation. I skimmed through the comments, most of which were insults. But they weren't wrong. I was trying to ruin James and Lucy's relationship by seducing him. For James, I learned everything he liked. Every skill I mastered only earned me brief moments of his attention. But I knew many skills. For 3 years I had been by James's side. Dancing for him, learning every dance he liked. Accompanying him in his leisure time. Cooking for him, satisfying his appetite. Compared to Lucy, who only knew how to throw tantrums and cry. His childhood sweetheart. Anyone would choose me, right? Women admire strength. And men are the same. At 1 a.m. there was a knock on my door. I guessed it was James. He had come after all. I opened the door to find him disheveled and reeking of alcohol. Seeing him, I immediately threw myself into his arms. Why did you come so suddenly? You didn't even call. I asked, knowing full well why he was here. After I posted my dance photo on social media, some people began defending me on Lucy's account. They told Lucy to know her place and control her man. For the first time, someone had directly confronted Lucy. Lucy immediately gave James an ultimatum: either get rid of Nancy, or I'll tell our families and break off the engagement. So James came to see me. He was probably here to end things. But James, can you really let go of someone like me? Chapter 3. Nancy, maybe we should have ended this a long time ago. I froze for a moment, loosening my grip on him. I sniffled, then let go of him, maintaining a bit of distance. I gave him my usual beautiful smile, my eyes slightly red. I only said one word to him. Okay. His handsome eyebrows furrowed slightly and he continued, I've arranged for this apartment to be transferred to you. There's enough money in this card for all your expenses. I nodded, my eyes welling up with tears. Then I nodded again, quietly saying, okay. He opened his mouth, his voice filled with apology. Is there anything else you want? If I have it, I'll give it to you. I spoke again, my voice trembling with emotion. You've already given me so much. I can't ask for more. Hearing this, he seemed to find another outlet for his guilt. He pressed on, Nancy, anything at all. Just ask. I'll make it happen. As he finished speaking, my tears began to fall one by one. I bit my lip, shaking my head, unable to speak. I continued to sob quietly. After a long pause, I finally spoke, my voice choked with emotion. I just signed up for accounting classes. I don't want to stay in the entertainment industry anymore. I want to work. If I pass the interview at your company, would you consider not rejecting me? Please don't be too harsh on me. I'll work at your company as just a regular employee. I won't tell anyone about our relationship and I won't appear in front of Lucy. I just want a chance to see you from afar. Just that one chance, please. I begged, my voice low and desperate. His body stiffened, his eyes reddening. I'll be good. I'll be obedient. As long as you agree to this one request, I'll never make Lucy unhappy. I won't appear in front of her. I know you love her. If she's unhappy, you'll be unhappy too. I don't want you to be unhappy. As soon as I finished speaking, I felt a strong pull. My body swayed and I fell into James's arms. Mia, who had been taking care of me, appeared and wiped her tears as she spoke. Sir, Nancy waits for you every night, hoping you'll come back to see her. When you don't come, she can't eat. She has nightmares every night, waking up crying for you. I wanted to call you to come see Nancy, but she wouldn't let me. She was afraid of bothering you. Nancy has severe depression. Once I saw her cut her wrist and the blood filled the bathtub. I slowly closed my eyes. James lifted my wrist and saw the long scar. I heard his breath catch in his throat. I knew he wouldn't leave tonight. Chapter 4. When I woke up, James was standing beside my bed, his gaze fixed on the photos on the wall, a look of melancholy in his eyes. The photos were ones I had secretly taken of us together. One of us diving where I smiled brightly, another of him making coffee while I cheekily made a peace sign beside him. These pictures captured how deeply he mattered to me. Behind each photo, I had written a simple message. I love you so much. I miss you terribly. When can I see you again? James's fingers traced the words, his handsome face full of reluctance. Reluctance to break up with me, reluctance to see me hurt, reluctance to let me go. I sat up and wrapped my arms around him from behind, pretending to be strong. I'm fine really, I said. Don't listen to Aunt Jo. I can take care of myself. You're not wasting my time. Please go back. I won't make things difficult for you. I'll leave soon. Just give me a little time. Just a little. Tears fell from my eyes, soaking his shirt. He turned around and pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. Where would you go if you left me? You want to push me away? You should be trying to keep me. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay with you from now on. I looked at him, startled. Tears slid down my cheeks as he gently wiped them away, then kissed my forehead. I slept until morning, the warmth of his embrace lingering. Then my phone rang. It was Lucy. I put it on speaker immediately. Through clenched teeth, Lucy's voice came through, cold and angry. Is James with you? Tell him if he's not at my house in 30 minutes, we're done. She hung up abruptly. I turned pale, panic rising in my chest, and looked at James helplessly. I rushed to the closet, pulling out his clothes. Get dressed. I'll make breakfast. The driver's downstairs, I'll tell him to hurry. Before I could finish, James pulled me back into his arms, burying his face in my neck. Why bother with her? You're making it seem like I'm afraid of her. I was stunned, lowering my head in silence. He continued, You're too gentle. She needs to learn a lesson. But she's from a prestigious family. Aren't you worried she might actually break off the engagement? He scoffed. Don't worry. She wouldn't dare. The Lucy family still relies on the James family. I'll make her understand that. You shouldn't be so worried or upset. I could hear his meaning clearly. My heart soared with joy. So you won't leave me, right? He smiled and ruffled my hair, teasing. You're happier about this than you would be with money. Do you really like me that much? I nodded eagerly, my eyes filled with tears. Yes, I like you the most. Yes, Nancy liked James more than anything. Chapter 5. My sister Nancy. 3 years ago, she died on a stage named after James, performing a dance. That stage was built by James for Lucy to practice ballet. James's grandmother had been a ballet dancer in her youth, a true enthusiast. Lucy, eager to win favor with James's grandmother, wanted to learn ballet. Even though she knew James was pursuing my sister, Lucy still invited her to be her teacher. But my sister didn't know that Lucy was the one James liked. She only knew that one class fee could cover my painting lessons for a year. I remember before she left, my sister told me, the student I'm teaching this time is one of the top young ladies in the capital. I heard she's very generous. One class can cover your tuition for a whole year. I hope she likes me and asks for more classes. Then I can buy you new paints and canvases. And maybe pretty clothes and shoes. Oh, and tomorrow is your birthday. What do you want? Why don't you mention it's also your birthday? What do you want? I just want you to be safe and happy. Then I want a teddy bear. Yes, my sister and I were twins. My real name is Nancy and she was also Nancy. Now I live for her. I waited eagerly for her to return, to eat longevity noodles together and receive the teddy bear. But what came back was her lifeless body. And a soaked teddy bear. From that night on, I lost her love forever. I became an orphan. It was that night that I learned about James. And that night I wanted James and the lives of all of them. Chapter 6. I clutched a photo of James and me, whispering, I miss you. I really miss you. Don't leave me. Don't abandon me. You like me so much, even when I'm with you, you miss me? James held me close, his presence enveloping me. My eyes were red, my face streaked with tears. James spent the entire week by my side. Not only was I not blacklisted as social media had predicted, but I was also given multiple endorsements and roles. Social media exploded. Lucy's fans flooded my account with insults, calling me everything imaginable. But I didn't care. I accepted everything James gave me, feeling no guilt. I frequently appeared at high-end events and film sets, quickly becoming a rising star. Lucy, on the other hand, fell silent. I knew the power struggle between James and Lucy had ended with her defeat. The Lucy family couldn't compete with the wealth of the James family. Though Lucy had bowed to James, it didn't mean I could act recklessly. Lucy blamed me for everything and took out all her anger on me. During performances, my costumes were often torn or damaged. On set, I was deliberately given difficult scenes and constantly called out. In the makeup room, other actresses often picked on me. But I never complained. I never mentioned it to James. Instead, I had someone secretly send my grievances to the paparazzi, along with photos or videos of me crying alone on set. Suddenly, I was trending. The narrative naturally shifted. An image of a hard-working, innocent young woman was easily crafted. Lucy, using James's influence, had made many enemies in the entertainment industry. In 3 years, many had turned against her. In those same 3 years, I had built my own network through hard work. The public's opinion naturally swung in my favor. Lucy only got lucky with her birth. What else does she have? If it weren't for the capital's prince supporting her, who would she be? Does she think the entertainment industry is her family's playground, where she can bully anyone? Nancy may be an orphan without a prestigious background, but she's better than Lucy in every way. If I were James, I'd choose Nancy. Once untouchable, the flawless socialite had fallen from grace. Lucy wouldn't sit idle. She targeted me directly. She publicly declared, "How can a wolf blinded by greed escape a hunter with a gun?" She wasn't wrong. But she was the wolf. And I was the true hunter. Chapter 7. I didn't know what Lucy and James had discussed. But it had been a month since James last contacted me. When I tried calling him, he ignored my calls. I guessed that he was trying to prove his loyalty to Lucy. Maybe he had also figured out that Lucy's online harassment had something to do with me. It felt like a warning. I was to keep my distance. Yet not long ago he had told me that I was free to love him and enjoy his affection. Men. They really are fickle. But it's fine. This is just the beginning of the show. For James's grandmother's 70th birthday, Lucy arranged for the capital's dance troupe to perform at the James family home. After a few performances, the grandmother couldn't stop smiling. One particular ballet, the Nutcracker, was Lucy's way of confessing her feelings for James and publicly showing her resolve to be with him. She wanted to let the James family know that she was committed to their future together. The family understood her intentions. And the grandmother especially saw right through her. After the performance, as was tradition, the grandmother handed out red envelopes to the dancers, especially to the lead actress. This performance was exceptional. I haven't seen such talent in a long time. Bring her over. I want to give her the biggest red envelope. After the performance, the grandmother was always generous, never caring about money. The dancers took turns receiving their red envelopes. I was led by the troupe leader to stand before her. The grandmother handed me the red envelope, and upon seeing me, her eyes brightened. "What a beautiful girl. How long have you been dancing?" I blushed slightly, lowering my gaze. I felt nervous and uneasy. I could sense the weight of the looks on me. Some were angry. Some were filled with disdain. But most of them were mocking. I glanced up briefly and saw James's cold, displeased expression. And Lucy standing beside him, glaring at me with loathing. This was my first time attending a James family gathering. As a performer. But it was clear my presence was going to stir up quite a storm. I looked at the grandmother's kind face and answered, 10 years. I've been dancing since I was a child. I danced with my sister when we were young, but in college I fell in love with painting and stopped dancing. Fortunately, I still had a solid foundation. It seemed everything had been predestined. James was meant to be in my hands. Your foundation is truly impressive. Did you just join the troupe? I don't recall seeing you before. I'll be sure to support your future performances. I accepted the grandmother's red envelope, adding, "You might not remember me, but you've seen me perform before." The grandmother blinked, surprised. So were the others. "When?" she asked. 7 years ago in Swan Lake. I played the B role. You praised my performance and gave me a large red envelope. The grandmother squinted, her mind drifting back in time. She stared at my face for a while, and then her eyes seemed to brighten with recognition. "It's you," she exclaimed, clapping her hands with joy. My goodness, how time flies. You've all grown so much. By the way, where's your sister? I remember you two danced the A and B roles together. It was a magnificent performance. If you two danced together again, I'd be in heaven. Mentioning my sister made my heart ache. I bit my lip, replying, "Hi, sister. She's no longer with us." The grandmother's smile faltered and she sighed deeply. Then she placed a bracelet into my hand. "These years must have been hard. You must have suffered," she said softly, her voice full of sympathy. I sniffled, shaking my head. "It wasn't that hard. I've been well taken care of. The only time I struggled was after my sister passed away, but after that I had people to take care of me." My gaze wandered to James, where I saw his hand freeze on the table. I gave the grandmother a soft smile. "Lately I've been doing well." I didn't see James's reaction. But Lucy, standing next to him, was furious, her glare fixed on me. The grandmother, due to her fondness for my sister, showered me with more kindness. During the banquet, she insisted I sit next to her. The James and Lucy families maintained their composure, though their minds were clearly elsewhere. The grandmother and I talked extensively about dance. I answered her questions and she was delighted. The banquet continued until it ended. As soon as the grandmother retired to her room and the door closed behind her, Lucy slapped me across the face. "James, why is she here? Explain yourself." "I don't care what you do outside, but she has crossed the line today." Lucy's voice was hoarse and furious. Her face twisted with rage. I lowered my head slightly, watching James approach me. My eyes were red, but I didn't try to explain. I smiled weakly at him. "I'm sorry for causing trouble. The lead actress was sick, so I had no choice but to step in. Go kneel outside." His words were cold like a blade. I bit my lip, nodding obediently. Outside, the garden air was chilly. I knelt there. The stone steps were hard beneath me. My legs ached. "James, you showed mercy. But this punishment wouldn't cost me anything more." Still, a faint smile crossed my face. I knew someone would eventually come to my aid. Chapter 8. As the James and Lucy families gradually departed. In the shadows, Lucy's dog, goaded by its owner, lunged at me. It was a large dog. Its eyes glowed an eerie green. Dogs love the scent of fresh blood and it excited them. My scream echoed through the garden and it quickly attracted a crowd. James, witnessing the bloody scene, rushed to scoop me up in his arms. Behind him, Lucy stood, glaring at me, fists clenched. I leaned weakly against James, whispering, "My stomach hurts." Blood spread across the ground. Under the harsh lights, it was a vivid crimson. James's pupils dilated in shock. I saw his lips tremble. "Call a doctor." "Now," he ordered. I kept apologizing and groaning in pain as he tightened his grip on me. Under Lucy's watchful eyes, James carried me to the hospital. Despite the doctor's best efforts, the baby couldn't be saved. James stayed by my side in the hospital for 2 days before I was discharged. On the day I left, he comforted me, his face filled with regret. "We'll have more children. I'll be here protecting them with you." His eyes were filled with promises. I felt somewhat comforted by his words and nodded gravely. Chapter 9. When Lucy came to see me, I was painting in my studio. Lucy hadn't been able to reach James for half a month, so she came to find him at my place. I was upstairs using new paints. The colors mixed in the water. Downstairs, I heard their argument. "James, you've contradicted me for that bitch twice now. The first time I asked you to break up with her and you refused. This time she came to the James family trying to win over the grandmother, almost taking my place. I just punished her a little and you treat me like this?" James's voice was cold. "I told you no one will take your place as Mrs. James. She won't appear in front of the grandmother again. Nancy is very sentimental. The troupe took her in during her hardest times. She came to the James family out of gratitude. If she hadn't come, her baby wouldn't have. It's your fault too. Don't you see that?" Lucy looked at James in disbelief. She cried out, "You're blaming me for that bitch. Are you saying you haven't fallen for her? You used to always stand up for me no matter who it was. You've fallen in love with Nancy, haven't you? She's become more important to you than I am, right?" James didn't respond. Lucy cried hysterically. "James, haven't I given you enough? Nancy has nothing and she never asks for anything. She only has me now and her life has been so hard. I told you the position of Mrs. James is yours and no one will take it. Lucy stopped crying, her face twisted with rage. Let me ask you, James, if you had to choose between her and me, who would you choose? James remained silent. Lucy began to laugh maniacally. Nancy, you've won. You've completely won. James, remember your actions today. It's not me leaving you, it's you leaving me. A hysterical argument led by Lucy ended with her slamming the door. I slowly put down my paintbrush. On the canvas was a ballerina, lifelike and graceful. James opened the door and walked towards me, bending down to hug me. He buried his face in my neck. Why aren't you painting me? Why are you painting yourself? Because this painting is for you so you can always see me. The words sounded sweet, but only I knew the truth. The painting was of my sister. I wanted him to always see my sister. I'm sorry for causing another argument between you two. My eyes shimmered with tears, on the verge of crying. James shook his head. No, it's not your fault. She's spoiled because of me. You never make me choose or do anything that makes me uncomfortable. I held his hand. How could I bear to make things difficult for you? Loving someone means wanting them to be happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. His eyes looked at me deeper than usual. Compared to Lucy, I think you're more suited to be my wife. I was momentarily stunned. I leaned against him, speaking softly. I don't want to be Mrs. James. I just want to be by your side. He held me tightly. How can there be such a silly girl like you? Silly? I'm not silly at all. I know exactly what I want. If anyone's silly, it's Lucy. Chapter 10. News of Lucy breaking up with James quickly made headlines. Soon after, photos and videos of Lucy vacationing in Sonia with James's older brother, Jack, surfaced. The Lucy family immediately shifted their support from James to Jack. Jack publicly declared his love for Lucy at various events. The news of James and Jack competing for the Lucy family's heiress quickly went viral. James, sleeping beside me, was restless every night. I knew that his childhood bond with Lucy wasn't something that could be completely severed by a miscarriage. Seeing Lucy leave the country to continue her studies, James couldn't sit still. James eventually found an excuse to go see Lucy. As soon as James left, Jack came to find me. Sitting in the living room, Jack looked me up and down. The first time I saw you, I thought you were beautiful. Seeing you again, you're even more beautiful. Is it because of James? He smirked, his eyes filled with mischief. I smiled back, unbothered by his taunts. No wonder the old man chose James as his successor. Compared to James, you lack any gentlemanly manners. His smile faded and he looked at me with newfound respect. I continued, since you're here, let's get to the point. Playing games won't make this cooperation pleasant, and I might reconsider working with you. Jack snorted. No wonder Lucy suffered at your hands. I bet even my brother can't figure you out. Fine, I'll be direct. I want the James Corporation and I need your help. If you help me, name your price. I took a sip of tea, moving my seat closer, smiling. I'll help you, but I want to be Mrs. James. Jack's eyes narrowed, a triumphant smile spreading across his face. I chuckled softly. The game was moving forward. Chapter 11. To quickly rise to power, Jack took over a bidding project from James. James lost the project, costing the James Corporation hundreds of millions. As punishment, the old man removed James from his position as CEO. Jack gained the old man's approval, getting promoted and transferred back to the main company. James confronted me with a recording of my conversation with Jack, his face cold. When did you start plotting with Jack against me? He asked, his eyes filled with disgust. I thought you were different from other women, but I was wrong. You always said you didn't want a title, but look at what you've done. Isn't it too much? Nancy, you're really disappointing. I stepped forward to explain, but he pushed me to the ground. Tears streamed down my face. He spoke coldly. Do you think your tears can deceive me? Lucy may be spoiled, but she never betrayed me. Do you want to be Mrs. James that badly? I never knew your heart could be so dirty. I didn't speak, continuing to sob. James turned his back on me, refusing to listen. But if I didn't speak, someone else would. Mia brought the villa's surveillance footage to James. Sir, Nancy would never do anything to harm you. Watch this. This is the truth. In the footage, after I said, I'll help you, but I want to be Mrs. James, there were many more conversations. I said, Jack, you must be thrilled I said that. But unfortunately, I have no ambition. I don't want to be Mrs. James. I only want his love, his heart. He's been unable to sleep well because of the rumors about you and Miss Lucy. Jack, Miss Lucy has always liked James. Why don't you let go? There were many more conversations. James stood there, his hands clenching and unclenching. Mia spoke up for me. Sir, I don't know why you like Miss Lucy so much, but Nancy loves you too. She doesn't want anything, just for you to occasionally be with her. Is that too much to ask? And you treat her like this? James finally moved. He seemed a bit guilty. He knelt down. He hugged me, whispering, I'm sorry. I hugged him back. It's not your fault. The person who recorded this is the real culprit. He frowned slightly. Yes, because of this recording I almost drove you away. I leaned against his chest. If you drove me away, living would be meaningless. I felt his body stiffen. That night he held me, whispering, thank goodness you're okay. I heard him. I smiled. It was almost over. Chapter 12. James had always been ruthless. He had Jack tied up in the basement. Using some methods, he forced Jack to confess that Lucy was behind the plot. Lucy, wanting James to drive me away, betrayed him, effectively pushing him out of the company. Lucy didn't know she had crossed James's bottom line. No man could tolerate his woman conspiring with his brother against him. James loved Lucy, but not unconditionally. With Lucy's previous tantrums and extreme behavior, James ended things with her. Without James's protection, the Lucy family faced bankruptcy overnight. Their stocks plummeted, crushing the company. Reporters caught Lucy frequently visiting James's company, begging for help. But James, no longer favoring her, ignored her pleas. When Jack brought the news to me, I knew it was almost over. Jack was the old man's illegitimate son, raised outside the family. He was the one who brought me to James 3 years ago. The James Corporation is the old man's legacy. He couldn't find a capable successor among his sons, showing his pursuit of perfection, looking for someone like him. James gained the old man's approval largely because of Lucy's grandmother, his old flame. Hearing her praise, he saw James differently. But now the company she built was destroyed by James. Without Lucy's grandmother's influence, she would discredit James, causing the old man to distrust him. Now we just need James to make a public mistake and you'll get what you want. Jack's words stayed with me. I followed him to a prepared room. It's a bit dirty here, sorry. It's fine. I've endured worse. Jack sighed. If your sister knew, she'd be heartbroken. Thought of my sister. Heart, we have no parents. Heart, don't be afraid. You still have your sister. I'll protect you. Don't be scared. Jojo isn't scared of anything. Sister wants Jojo to be happy. My eyes reddened. I hadn't followed my sister's wishes. I wasn't happy at all. Without my sister, no one protected me. I wasn't happy at all. Heart, stay with me after this is over. I'll give you anything you want. Money, power, anything. I was stunned. It had been so long since anyone called me Heart. I smiled, shaking my head. I don't want those things. They're not important. He was surprised. Maybe you never wanted those things. Chapter 13. News of my kidnapping spread quickly. James went to the Lucy family to find me. No matter how he pressured her, Lucy denied involvement. But James didn't believe her. He grabbed her by the throat, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Lucy couldn't believe the man who had protected her for years was ready to kill her for another woman. She screamed and shouted. But James didn't let go. A few maids, unable to watch, revealed my location. Miles away in Lucy's estate, James found me. He held me tightly. He proposed on the spot. Lucy tried to see James many times after that. But he refused to see her, keeping her out. Finally, we were getting married. At our wedding, Lucy jumped from the hotel rooftop, landing on the old man's car, dying instantly. The old man had a heart attack and was rushed to the hospital. In an instant, the grand wedding was left with only reporters and media. When the officiant asked James if he would marry me, he answered affirmatively. In his vows, he said sincerely, Nancy loves me deeply. From now on, I will continue to love and protect her. Such sincere words. I handed him a report. It was a miscarriage report. James was shocked, looking at me confused. What happened? Who did this? Tell me. I laughed. James, why would I want to have your child? With blood on your hands, how can you be a father? His eyes widened. On the screen behind me, videos of his crimes played. The videos showed him abusing Lucy, my sister. I watched my sister in the video, tears in my eyes. Reporters frantically took photos, not wanting to miss the scene. Police rushed in to arrest James. He looked back at me, incredulous. I stepped forward, smiling. James, I'm not Nancy. Nancy was my sister, who you tortured to death 3 years ago. In the end, he roared, you lied to me. How could you lie to me? Chapter 14. Jack took a week to gather all the evidence for the court. The old man, gravely ill, had no energy to deal with James. Jack reaped the benefits, becoming the winner. Of course, Lucy's grandmother delivered the final blow. She didn't believe Lucy would die for love. But if she did, James should join her. Using the old man's remaining influence, she had James sentenced to death. That night, Jack inherited the James Corporation. I was ready to leave. Jack came to see me off. What will you do now? I shook my head. I don't know. I'll take it one day at a time. He watched me leave, reluctant. I knew he missed my sister. If you need anything, call me. My phone is always on. We hugged goodbye. I returned to my sister's hometown. I returned to her stage. I wore her ballet costume, dancing her dance. Everything felt like it did when we were kids. Sister, your heart isn't happy. Heart is coming to find you. Chapter 15. Heart died. She died wearing a ballet costume. The costume was stained with red, shining brightly in the sun. When Jack found out, he rushed to Heart's hometown. He wanted to bring her back to the capital, to find her a good resting place so she wouldn't suffer anymore. But he decided to bury her next to Nancy so the sisters could be together. Jack collected Heart's belongings and took them back to the capital. Thinking of her years in hell, smiling at James every day, he couldn't help but feel heartbroken. If Nancy hadn't died, Heart would have lived a simple life with her. But there were no ifs. When Nancy died, Heart died too. She lived only to avenge her sister, to punish those who deserved it. Thinking of this, Jack's eyes reddened. Jack took care of the old man for 3 months. The grandmother occasionally visited. Seeing the man she had lived with for over 40 years, now bedridden, she was calm. Recently, the Lucy family declared bankruptcy. The family fought, tearing each other apart, driving the grandmother to her death. Jack spoke softly. The grandmother smiled, satisfied. That bitch Shinru deserved this end. Shinru was the grandmother's full name. The grandmother sat by the old man's bed, speaking coldly. Shinru hated you until her death. Hated you for not being ruthless enough to control James. James hurt Lucy and killed her. But Lucy's death wasn't James's doing. James, like you, is sentimental. No wonder you chose him to inherit the company. But it's a pity. He didn't want to kill Lucy. He wanted to save the Lucy family. But James didn't expect his pet bird to hate him so much. You. Yes, it was me. I had Lucy thrown from the hotel rooftop onto your car, dying in front of you. Exciting, isn't it? The old man's eyes widened. He reached out but grasped nothing. All the machines beeped, turning into a flat line. Despite the alarms, no doctors or nurses came in. The grandmother watched the old man. Then she laughed, then cried. She stood up, closing the old man's eyes. Jack helped her up. Jack, everything is yours now. She advised him earnestly. Jack nodded. Grandmother, I have a question. Ask. Why did you choose Heart? The grandmother smiled. If you saw that dance, you'd know why. Those eyes, they could captivate anyone. Jack's hand paused. Do you think Heart was wasted? Jack smiled. I think it was a brilliant move. A game played for years. Nancy and Heart, 2 lives, became pawns in a power struggle ready to be sacrificed. Chapter 16. 2 years later. Jack silenced all opposition in the James Corporation. The grandmother, grieving the old man, passed away. But only the James family knew. Her death wasn't as dignified as reported. She was beaten, drowned, and tortured to death. Her body wasn't cremated or buried, but fed to wild animals. With everything settled, Jack returned to Nancy and Heart's hometown. He paid his respects. His heart finally at ease. 2 years of caution. He experienced the hardships Heart endured. 3 years ago, Jack saved James before his execution. Because Jack believed Nancy and Heart shouldn't see James on the bridge to the afterlife. Besides, death wasn't the worst punishment for James. Living was. Jack sat across from James, watching him mutter to himself. She wouldn't do this to me. She told me she only loved me. She must be forced. Someone's making her do this. When agitated, he stood up. I need to go. I need to find Nancy. It must be Lucy. She did something. Jack, you can't fool me. Nancy can't be dead. A blow drove James mad. When Jack visited, he kept asking about Nancy, his thoughts disjointed. Let him live like this, a tribute to the sisters. Chapter 17. Jack went to Hart's old villa. Mia still cleaned regularly. Hart's room was filled with her photos. Jack looked at the photos, his eyes red. But seeing the words behind them, his hand clenched. Hart, I love you. Hart, I only love you. Hart, I'm sorry. Hart, don't hate me. The handwriting was familiar from James. Jack narrowed his eyes, muttering, disgusting. Mia didn't understand why Jack burned the photos. Jack took Hart's camera and electronics. The place was clean, empty. Hart was beautiful. Hart was always beautiful.